Good evening, beauties. Rev Roni here. Blessings to all of you that this finds you enjoying an absolutely delightful, quiet, or exciting evening filled with joy. So I just wanted to talk very briefly today about the concept of comparison and how living in the society that we do and that we have been for the last several thousands of years, competition has been promoted as a positive thing in our lives. And I don't want to get into the back and forth right now regarding the benefits or detriments of competition. However, would like to make mention with respect to comparison, which is in line with competition, that we tend to, more often than not, utilize it for negative purposes as opposed to positive ones. And just to bring some foresight and consciousness to the fact that oftentimes when we are comparing ourselves to someone else and utilizing it for negative purposes, which essentially is to compare ourselves to them to show ourselves how uncool we are, how unworthy we are, how undeserving we are, how unaccomplished we are, so on and so forth, that we also need to take into account and claim and own the ability to respond, our responsibility for the fact that whomever it is that we are using as the person that we are comparing ourselves to, or what I would call our barometer of measurement, who we're measuring ourselves up against, we are putting into a very precarious position of suddenly becoming this being that has to hold the entirety of the barometer of measurement that we are comparing ourselves to, and oftentimes become the object of our frustration and aggravation and self-loathing. And so we are now making this person who doesn't even know that we're using them as a barometer of measurement into some kind of, for lack of a better word, monster. And we are basically projecting all of our self-directed negative feelings onto them because they're doing something similar to what we're doing, and we feel that they're getting more traction, they're doing it better, they look better, they seem to have more to what we are seeing, to our perception, having not walked a day in their feet, or lived in their home, or lived in their minds and their hearts to know what their life experience actually is. We are utilizing them as a comparative barometer of measurement without actually knowing the barometer of measurement that we're using. For the most part, I'm not saying it's all the time, but for the most part. So I just wanted to bring that to consciousness because oftentimes, you know, we are so consumed, again, not at fault with respect to the initiation of this addiction that we have to fear consciousness, but we are definitely at fault in the essence that we are all old enough by now to start taking ownership and responsibility and doing everything we can to shift our consciousness paradigm from fear to love for reasons exactly like this, because as much as we may think that we're only hurting ourselves, we're actually hurting everybody else. And this is just one example of that. A nice way that we can use comparison is to see within ourselves, purposefully to look at ourselves in search of the growth that we've attained over the hours, days, weeks, months, years, to actually go in there and say, wow, you know, this is how I would have responded to this then, and look at how I am now. And if wanting to use another as a barometer of measurement, to be utilizing them as someone who is exalting how we feel and exalting us, because we are utilizing them to allow ourselves to see our own light of love as opposed to the opposite, which we're all used to doing it. We're addicted to it. We've been spoon-fed it. That's how we've been raised. But more and more of we are awakening. So now it's time to put on our big boy and big girl panties and underwear and get in there and start making some changes. So, and to do that, we also need to recognize why it's so important that we do it. It's not mamsy-pamsy, hippy-dippy, flower child fluff that I'm speaking to, nor anyone else who speaks to consciousness and how we think and feel and make use of our minds in this world are speaking to. We are talking about the very means by which we experience life itself, and that affects everything. I really can't say this with enough emphasis. Everything stems from the choice of how we choose to perceive, receive, and respond to life itself. Everything. Everything. So, how we govern ourselves, how we interact with other countries, the fact that there are other countries instead of just one planet, the fact that we have the rules and regulations that we do, the fact that there are rules and regulations, the fact that we eat the foods that we do, the foods that are produced, how they're produced, everything. Everything. So, let's start with the small things and try the next time we find ourselves using someone else as a barometer of measurement to compare to ourselves, to put ourselves down, to remember what we're doing, what the effect is that we're having, and upon how many others that we are having that effect. Everything is energy, and even if they don't hear you and they don't know about it, energetically it is being sent forth to them. And anyone else who is in touch with them is affected, and anyone who they're in touch with is affected, and on 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 it goes, because we are all connected. All right, my loves, a most blessed evening to one and all, you magnificent human beings, you beautiful earth angels divine, each one of you unique, not another one. Even twins, identical twins, are not 100,000% identical. Even they are unique, wonderful human beings unto themselves. And there is not another one like you, nor will there ever be, who is exactly who you are. So thank you for being the remarkably unique, beautiful being that you are. Mwah! Bliss Kiss in La Kesha La Kin. Namaste. Blessedly be. Until next time.